When it comes to power dynamics, they come in all shapes and sizes. But in the Half-Life universe, there's only one shape, and that one size is one size fits all. In a situation where one side needs to be triumphant over the other, the one side will do whatever they can to make sure they hold that advantage. Today, we're adding on to the list of sinister things the Combine have done to keep that advantage. Today, we're talking about the Stalkers.
This is what happens to you if you resist. Or if you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Believe it or not, the Stalkers are actually not an alien species or zombies or anything supernatural, paranormal, or superstitious or whatever. They're actually human. Yeah, they're human. Humans that have been altered physically and mentally through surgeries performed by the Combine. If you're looking for a cheap Brazilian butt lift this time of year, the surgeries are performed at Nova Prospect, a place that, quoted by Alex Vance, is a high-security prison that has gotten much, much worse over time. Let's begin on what they do to the humans in this game that they call Surgeon Simulator Live Leak Edition. The limbs, specifically the hands and legs below the knee, are amputated and replaced with metal augmentations bolted onto the body. They're unable to speak but instead roar and bark as a possible result of the vocal cords being removed or severe larynx and mental alteration. There is a metal plate infused onto the face and their digestive tracts have been pulled out. This is a perfect definition of a fucked up childhood drawing come to life. I mean, personally, the only benefit to having the surgery would be the metal sleeping mask they infuse onto your face. And imagine how much time that would save before bed. You know, just lay in bed and then time to sleep. Now you're probably asking yourself, is all of this really necessary? Well, yeah, I mean, the Stalkers have to be 110% reliable to the Combine because they need that advantage any way they can get. I mean, yeah, if you strip out a human's essentials and replace them with metal, you kind of need to depend on someone, right? And that dependency from the Stalkers is what is helping the Combine get their victory at the end of the day. Before the destabilization of the Citadel core, the Stalkers were overseen by the Combine, but when Gordon came in and caused the Citadel core to wipe out almost the entire city, the Cuckboy Combine started fleeing, which left the Stalkers by themselves. And they're so detached from reality that they're not even aware of the situation around them. And in some ways, they're actually kind of harmless. You know, Alex Vance even says that if we don't bother them, they shouldn't bother us. Here's what's weird about that though. If you choose to kill one of the Stalkers at the Citadel core, the other will try to burn your ass to death with its weird head laser thing. But if you cross the bridge before it deactivates, you're gonna see some Stalkers that literally act like nothing happened. It's weird, right? Now, if you're visually turned off from Mr. Pink, disfigured, and disgusting, guess what? You're not the only one. Alex Vance is actually visually disturbed by just the sight of these damn things. In episode 1, while taking a ride on a razor train, there's a moment where a Stalker in its pod falls on top of Alex and starts roaring and barking and trying to bite her, right? And then when you help her off the train, she has to take a second to regather her thoughts because the sight of those things just completely distresses her. Trust me, if I see a walking Slim Jim trying to bite my damn face off, best believe I'm gonna be a little bit fucked up afterwards. You know who isn't bothered by the Stalkers though? Humans. Surprisingly enough, they're not bothered by them. In fact, it may be limited to members of the Resistance that they know how to turn a human into a Stalker. Now, if you're wondering what sort of sick and twisted mind was able to come up with this idea of the Stalkers, well, let's hear what Ted Backman has to say. And I quote, "The Stalker idea came from wanting something that crept around in the shadows and then lunged at you. We took a half-baked idea and turned it into something more horrific because the Stalkers are really the victims. When you face them, they're these crazed half-human things that you can't help but almost pity. I was hoping to put enough humanity into the things that it wasn't just a scary monster. Instead, it was something that presented a moral dilemma every time you had to deal with it, which I think is a more interesting problem. It is more horrific to have to deal with an insane hostage than something that just wants to eat your brains." And honestly, that was probably the best move they could have ever made because they already had enough zombies and aliens and just weird things in the game already. You know, creating something semi-human added a nice little nice little touch to it, you know what I mean? Mark Laidlaw, a writer for Half-Life 2, said that these were actually some of the earliest creatures put into the game and that they were supposed to actually be spread out across several environments. Imagine walking into your apartment one day and just seeing one of these bastards making a sandwich or something like that. I just think it'd be hilarious. Now, before we wrap up, let's look at some of the concepts for the Stalkers, because hell no. This honestly looks like if Joe Biden just covered himself in peanut butter and became a sex deviant instead of a politician. On to the second picture. Here we see the old bitch from SpongeBob who ate chocolate. I wonder what age she is in this photo. Maybe like 50? I don't know. Leave in the comments below. On to the third pic, we see some sketches of some stalkers that sort of look like what they are now, and it's honestly not a bad design choice. I kind of like this one. And here we have another pic of Joe Biden if he mouth harassed a bottle of mustard. Now, what's interesting about this photo specifically is that at first, the stalkers are actually supposed to be an enemy in the game that you fight, similar to the Zen and the Combine, but they scrapped that out. And honestly, that was a good move. And the next pic actually shows what this would look like. And, you know, I don't know why my brain is thinking this is something off of itch.io, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Now, what do I think about the Stalkers? Well, here are my thoughts. I think they add a nice horrific atmosphere to the Half-Life franchise. I mean, we have zombies, aliens, we have ominous and horrifying locations. So I'm glad to see that the Stalkers are able to join that cesspool of just horrific shit. My only gripe is that I wish they would have been incorporated into the game just a little bit more, aside from just being some sort of side character that we see occasionally. You know, they're under the control of the Combine, right? Wouldn't the Combine train them to fight at some point? Maybe that's the whole goal. Maybe the Combine don't want to teach the Stalkers how to fight for them, because maybe there's that one Stalker one day that just gains some sort of self-realization and then turns. Lord knows what would happen to a Stalker if they gained some sort of self-realization and then came to the conclusion that they were just a human that was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Thank you all so much for watching the video and supporting the Half-Life 2 content on the channel. Let me know down below what you think about the Stalkers. And while you're down there, go ahead and like the video, sub to the channel, tap that bell to all so you never miss the next video when it goes up. Alright y'all, I'm gonna go see if I could buy one of those pods that they stay in on Amazon because I think they might be kind of cozy. I don't know. Later!